Alright, so the first thing we want to go into is talking about the build. Just a standard core warrior build. You can probably find this on Meta Battle. It might be a few things changed around, but this is the most viable build that I like to use when I'm out roaming or in PvP. So, what you can use is Mending as your heal. You can swap that out for To the Limit. To the Limit is good for gaining endurance, but it doesn't have that Condi clear that Mending would have, especially the cooldown duration. In PvP, it's about 20 seconds. I usually like to run Stomp over Balanced Stance because of the cooldown. It's 32 seconds when you're running peak performance. Balanced Stance is good as a Endure Pain alternative because players cannot crit you. It's just immune to critical hits while you're using Balanced Stance. So Balanced Stance is good for, getting off heals like your heal skill and reducing damage, or, just trying to get cleave off while you're using Balanced Stance. But I like to use Stomp because of it's a movement skill. It's also a AoE knockback, an AoE launch, and it breaks stun. So I like to, play around with those two. You're always going to need a break stun, a damage, and a Condi clear utility. So if you can manage with this, if you can manage with Berserk Stance, whatever one is up to you, whatever you like to use, go ahead, that's fine. And then I like to use Rampage. Rampage is good for either finalizing stomps or just breaking distance, breaking gaps. Another reason why I like to use Stomp is for breaking gaps as well. When players try to distance yourself, especially Rangers, when they try to just like get you over 1500 range and just keep shooting you constantly. So going to the armor, I'm running Marauder's chest and pants, Berserker everything else with pack runes, Assassin's ring and Ami, or trinket, Berserker ring and trinket, Assassin cape, and Assassin Ami with Berserker weapons. I like to run my offensive sigils on my greatsword on my main hand to deal as much damage as possible, and then run my defensive sigils on my offhand. That'd be like cleansing and energy, air and hydro, and you can swap between either one depending on whichever is viable for you. You don't have to run what I run. This is just what I like to run because I'm most comfortable using it. So that's just a heads up. So we're gonna go into a warrior build. All right. So before we begin the basics of combat, we're gonna go into our option settings. Right. Now this might sound trivial, but it will come in handy later on if you want to really master the combat of this game. So first, what you want to do is go down to your option settings and go down to controls and scroll all the way down like I just did and go to miscellaneous and make sure you know what your stow and draw weapons button is. So mine is X, for example. Now the reason I brought that up is because some skills can be canceled but not put on full cooldown. This is situational. So it depends on, your positioning, and if you see somebody about to dodge, or if you want to bait someone to dodge, you want to cancel that skill before it comes out and stow your weapon. I like to do that in fights to bait people to dodge so I can follow up with another combo attack. This isn't explained in the main game, so a lot of players don't know about stowing weapons and canceling. You see as it goes on cooldown for about, I think, 4 seconds. Yeah, 4-second cooldown. Another trick you can do is if you have them targeted but you're not facing them, if you press attacks button or range, for example for warrior, throw axe, it will make you face the direction of the enemy. All right. Another thing we want to talk about in your option settings. This is very difficult, and I would not suggest doing it. But if you mastered combat and you want to try out some, neat little tricks, you want to go down until you see combat and movement. Now, there's one thing called allow skill retargeting. So this allows you to retarget a skill or make you change direction of the skill. Usually, it was mainly used for like ranged attacks. Like if you're using an attack that has channel, for example, warrior when they use volley for rifle. Let me see here. If there's multiple enemies, you shoot at multiple enemies. If you're already shooting at one enemy, and you want to retarget onto another enemy, it won't cancel the skill. It'll just make your skill hit the next target. So that's the logic behind why they added that to the game. But a couple of skills can be used to retarget For example, I like to use Rush. Now what Rush would do is it breaks the gap between you and the opponent, but it can also be used to retarget and make you go in that direction. So I already have the targeted mark, right? So if I were to use Rush and then gain target, it would change the direction of the skill. So for example, I'm gonna hit Rush and I'm gonna gain retarget onto the enemy. Now, like I said, it's very situational, and the reason you would use that is to break the distance between you and the opponent, and then still get off the attack, as you've seen before. Alright, so I want you guys to pay attention now. We're going to talk about the range indicators on your attacks. So, as you can see, there's a red bar under your attacks, which means you aren't in range to hit the enemy. Certain skills have that range indicator, but sometimes it may mean that you might not be able to hit them, or you might be too far away. So for example, Blade Trail. I'm in distance to hit him with Blade Trail, and now I'm not. So if I were to throw Blade Trail out, it's not going to hit him. That's what the red bar under your skills mean. The range indicator showing that you're not in range to hit him. Now for example, some skills may have that range indicator on them. Now it may be because of the arc in the attack, but some skills still fly with an arc. So for example, Throw Axe has that red bar indicator under my skill, but I'm able to still hit him even from this distance. So some skills have an arc on it, and it may show that you aren't in range, but you still are able to hit them because Throw Axe has an arc in the attack. So I'm able to hit him from this distance even with the red bar under it. For the final demonstration, we're going to utilize some basic combos for Core Warrior. You can either start off with Axe or Great Sword. But basically, you want to utilize your traits such as Reckless Dodge. Your dodge roll does damage. And positioning on certain skills. So for example, Blade Trail. So what I'm going to do first is throw out Blade Trail, then dodge roll, and let the attack come back. Because Blade Trail goes out and it comes right back to the user. So that was 4-hit combo. Blade Trail, Lightning Strike, Reckless Impact, and Blade Trail again when it come back. So we want to amp up the combo. We want to use Blade Trail, dodge, may hit him with Lightning Strike, may not. And then swap to your axe and hit him with Cyclone Axe. There you go. Really simple. Another combo real quick. Usually I like to follow up with Cyclone Axe to gain that fury. So just gonna demonstrate it combo. Still hitting them with Reckless Impact, making sure you're positioning yourself, and still hitting them with every single attack as possible, mitigating as much damage as possible. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed it, and that's just the basics of combat part 1, and stay tuned for part 2. Thanks.